What is up, everybody, and welcome to the next episode. What episode are we on? We're on episode 4 of Queue Up, and I am joined by some favorites. You guys might recognize some of these names in here. We're joined by, of course, Supatease. Welcome back, brother.
Yep,
Nessper.
thank you.
I'm sure you guys are familiar with who Nessper is, as he has competed in our tournaments many times and has 3 titles under his belt right now, I believe.
Good times, good times.
And, of course, the one and only Nahj. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Alright, so quick introductions. Nessper, I'll start with you. Please
Alright.
tell us about yourself, your past experiences, maybe even an achievement or two.
I'm pretty lacking on the achievements outside of GCD TV. I mean, like,
There it is.
one time Glad, Season 14, like, I didn't even get Glad, like, when battle groups were a thing. I was actually just awful, so.
Yeah, same.
There was that, and then I got my first rank one, Season 15, from the trash bracket. Like, yeah, I'm actually ashamed to be a part of that bracket and to be related to it, so I'd like to leave that behind me. I've been playing WoW since mid-BC, but I was on private servers until the release of Cataclysm. Good times. Good times.
Alright. There it is. Oh, my default microphone right now is not the right one. Here we go. Let me, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Some technical difficulties real quick. And then, there it is. There, and now I'm probably too loud. Now you're all turning your streams down. It's fine. Alright, Mr. Supatease, I know I've asked this question of you many a time, so please re-elaborate on some of who you are and your past experiences.
I'm an avid Melman the giraffe lover. I follow him relentlessly. I refuse to forget who he is. I am a proud worshipper of a minnow. I have 90,000 achievement points in a minnow points.
In a minute,
Nice.
please. If you guys don't know who Melman or Ameno, those are references to past experiences or past tournaments. So yeah, that's exactly what I asked. Thank you, Supa. And Nahj, please elaborate.
Everyone's favorite Wrath RMP pizza face, you know?
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. I'm a Cat of Rouge, I guess.
It's a Cat of Rouge.
Mhm.
Alright.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Reppin' Sargeras, you know?
I appreciate you guys coming on the show and talking to me because there has been a recent big change that we're going to get to, but we're going to start off with something that always pops up on every single Queue Up episode. With no matter who's on the episode, this is something that we always talk about, and a lot of players feel like the gearing up process takes way too long, and they wish it was easier or faster to gear up so they could play alts and things like that. I just wanted to know what your guys' opinion on that. Do you feel like it is like a chore to level up an alt? Do you think that that should be an easier process, or do you think that it should be a grind and something you achieve like it is now? What do you think, Nahj?
It goes both ways. Like, there's easily arguments for both. I mean, I'm currently gearing up on EU right now, and it's absolutely miserable. I'd honestly prefer it in the long run if they actually just had a full-time arena tournament server, and they just, you know, you make 5 characters and you just gear up, and that's obviously more competitive, but at the end of the day, it is an MMO, and some people like the feeling of progression, but personally, I would prefer just an arena tournament server. Because it is too much effort, I think.
Okay. What do you think, Nessper?
Well, obviously, like, it's a real struggle to gear up, especially with,
Really?
like, the Conquest system
Oh,
and
that
the
was
new
obvious.
MMR system. So, like, right now, like, what people used to do is they would tank MMR over and over and over again. Like, they just wouldn't join 2v2 games, and queues would instantly pop. You'd drop MMR within, like, 5 minutes, and then you could just queue up at, like, 1100 MMR, spam Q2s, and then you'd get your cap in, like, a day or two. At least the catch-up cap. But, like, nowadays, first off, you can't do that anymore because of the new MMR system and the new, what's it called? Craven debuff, is that it?
Well, you just run in and get in combat. And
Yeah, you can attack
still
and
do it.
That's true, but I mean, in the past, like, it would be like a 2 seconds for a loss, whereas now, like, you have to wait the 45 seconds in the game,
Yeah.
and then it's a much slower
I mean,
process.
you could still tank within an hour, though, was the thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just more annoying for some people. And then, of course, the whole gearing and alt thing it's really slow and strenuous. Like, my idea would be, like, I understand that, like, honestly, gear differentials in PvP as a whole is an unfun experience. Like, unless you're on the higher end of it, like, everyone on the lower end is just miserable. Because, I mean, like, oh, this guy outgears me. Well, I don't stand a chance. At least at lower levels, like, it's really, really noticeable where it's like, okay, well, that guy has 2 more pieces of gear than me. He's going to stomp my face in. So what I would think is, like, maybe have it so that as weeks of the season go past, people are only allowed to buy certain amounts of conquest gear, or maybe, like, not even that, like okay, so for week 1 you're allowed X amount of conquest, and you can buy X amount of pieces of gear with this said conquest, and then week 2 you can get another X amount of conquest, and you can buy set amount of pieces of gear, and then everyone is equally geared throughout the season, and it just overall progresses more evenly and more fairly towards all players.
Yeah, absolutely. I did like that you went and you compared it back to past seasons, because a lot of people have been saying that this season is no different, and I just don't. Personally, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I feel like it hasn't been. But what do you think, Supa, about the gearing up process? Do you think that it's too much of a chore, or do you think that it is something that we need to accomplish as WoW players to get fully geared?
Well, I think there's a difference between rated and casual PvP. So if I do a random BG and I want to kill people that are really undergeared, that's one element of the game. But rated PvP, I don't think it should be, oh, I have more gear than you, so I'm going to get higher rated than you. And it usually doesn't end up being that way, because no matter what, it's not like they have rating requirements on the gear. No matter what, you're going to get full gear before the end of the season. It's just a matter of patience and time, and I mean, people don't want to do that, right? Like, if I quit the game and I came back and I want to play threes with my friend and I'm in full blues, I'm going to do a 1-day grind of 2s, hate my life, but I'll get it done. And then I've got half my purple gear, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll wait 4 weeks and then I can play with you.
Yeah.
It's just like, why? I mean, it's not like it's hard to get the gear. It's just a matter of playing. It's not like they've gated it at all.
Gate.
Yeah, it's not an accomplishment to get the gear. I mean, in Wrath of the Lich King, it used to be. I think putting more incentive to play and get better would be better, but I don't think it should be done through gear in rated scenarios. Casual scenarios, like, I think, yeah, you should want to grind your gear and then be like, oh, I have 100 item levels more than you, I'm going to dump on you in a BG. Like, that's fine. Like, that's where that should be. But in Arena, it doesn't even exist. Like, it's just a matter of time before you actually catch up. So why even have any time?
I 100% agree with that, dude. Like, when you're saying that, like, so for example, if you guys had the option to fully gear out, but it was going to take a ridiculous amount of time to do so, like, when I say a ridiculous amount of time, I mean a lot of hours, but you weren't limited on how much gear that you could earn in a week, do you think that would be a better solution to this? I mean, so you still have, like, that barrier between, like, casual and hardcore, because you have to put in the hours to get all the gear, but you don't have to wait 4 weeks no matter what you are, like, casual or hardcore. What do you think about an idea like that, Nessper?
I kind of agree with that, like, differentiating. Like, I think the tournament gear was a really good start, but I think they need to implement it, like, more real time with, like, rated PvP, where, like, there's rated gear and then there's casual gear. So, like, for casual BGs, sure, you can grab, like, Supatease is like I completely agree with that. Like, for casual BGs, yeah, it is fun. Like, it's enjoyable to be like, oh, hey, I worked for all this and I worked for all this gear and I deserve to have my advantage. But, like, in rated PvP, it's like, okay, well, it's supposed to be, and everyone's supposed to be on equal footing, so people can earn their rating and rewards based on skill rather than time.
For sure, dude. Well, what do you think, Nahj?
I think it's something they're kind of been trying to experiment with doing, but I don't think they're ever going to truly do that. I think their concept with this expansion is they wanted to make sure all of your gear wasn't just from spending points, because they wanted it to feel more like an MMO. You can kind of see that as a factor from, like, how they're getting gear from RBGs and how they put gear in the Glad Sanctum Coliseum, which everybody hated, but I feel like they're trying to make it to where you don't just buy all of your gear from one vendor. But I do feel like what Nessper said with the tournament gear, that's the best thing they could have done, is actually just have the tournament gear actually work in regular Arena. Because if you tried to have an unlimited cap scenario, like day one of a season is going to be hectic when all the new gear comes out. Just going to have people like grinding twos and everyone dropping MMR and everyone complaining that they're fighting gladiators at 1600 because they want to cap faster to get into threes immediately and stuff like that. Yeah. Granted, I'm fine with that kind of system in TBC when everyone remade a team. It felt bad for the new players at 1500 when you remade a team getting stomped by rank 1 players, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what you said earlier, Supa, when you were talking about there shouldn't be a variable of, say, gear when talking about earning a rating. Like, it should be as competitive as possible. It should be who played better. There shouldn't be, gear shouldn't be a factor, and I 100% agree with that, but what do you think would be the best way of preventing other factors like gear from players earning the rating that they deserve? Like, so my question, I guess, is how would you go about solving this problem, this gearing up problem?
Well, you can't say Blizzard isn't trying. I just think the attempts they're doing. I mean, like, let's say at the beginning of the season, I did Coliseum, and I got a piece from Coliseum. I'm going to be really happy. Like, hey, I got a piece. I'm ahead of everybody else. Now, there's situations like when Sony Digital had 8 pieces ahead of everybody else. He's having a blast. Do you think anybody else is when he has to fight him?
Iconicus, yeah, I remember Iconicus.
It's like, great, yeah, sure, it's fun, but I don't think that should be a factor in the rated environment. Like, I don't mind gearing up through a season. I feel like at the start of the season, sure, you can gear it up, grind your gear, and then at a certain point through the season, it just unlocks. Everyone can buy it at any point for no cost, for rated only. So like war game gear or something like that. You can't use it in PvE. Like, it won't give you any stat benefit whatsoever. It'll be like if you're naked. That way you still need to grind the gear to be able to do the MMO part of the game. But in terms of like that conflict of like it's an RPG and you're supposed to feel like you're getting stronger, nobody feels like that. Everybody just feels like they're incredibly weak until they have everything. Even if they're one piece down, you'll feel like, oh, man, if I had
I'd like to interject with that. I feel like people did feel that way, especially when there was rating to actually buy gear. Like, you got 2K and you got your shoulders and stuff like that. But then I feel like that feeling got washed away with time because the game has been so old.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is.
I feel like people don't really want that feeling anymore.
So that being said, oh, sorry, go ahead, Supa. I'll let you continue.
I didn't want to interrupt, sorry.
So I was going to say for the solution, like, they have, I think they put in something recently that you can get a flask or something to buy or earn more conquest points, but I think it's only for rated BGs. And I understand what they're trying to do is, I think, displace players to try all of the content. Like, they want players to do RBGs, they want players to do threes, they want players to do World PvP and Ashran. They want you to do everything, so they're putting rewards everywhere, but also making you have to do all of them. So that way, like, participation doesn't just drown out for all the content. But like, if you're gonna do that and put a flask in and make you earn conquest points faster, you should be able to do that like in arena. I will earn 3 times as many conquest points for a win, or something. And you can maybe buy it with garrison resources or something. That way, for the PvPers that don't really do a lot, like myself, like I don't do a lot with my garrison. All my resources just pile up and do nothing. So, like, maybe that could get the content rolling for it, but I definitely think that you should still need to grind the gear, and that's still a part of the game. Like, I remember having fun back in the day where I would grind a bunch of gear, have full epic gear, and go into a BG and just do a bunch of damage and feel happy that I was beating everybody. And I understand that, but like, that should be a random BG. And then when I do arena, it should be like you can just go to a vendor, like the war game gear vendor, pick whatever pieces you want. That way you can also figure out like what stats you want to run with. Because even right now, I think a lot of players don't even really know what the best stats are for their class, but you're limited by the system giving you gear, and you can't really ever experiment with that either. So I just think that rated PvP should have no cost. I don't mind grinding the gear throughout the beginning of the season, but at some point it should just unlock for everyone. If you're level 100, you can buy this and join arena, join a rated BG. If you join a random BG, you're not going to have any help. It's not going to do anything. Like, just make it unusable. That way you don't have it conflict with rating or anything else in the game.
Yeah, that was an excellent. I liked. There was one thing that you said that I wasn't aware of, that RBGs actually have a flask. That flask, does that actually go past like your cap? Or is it just like help you get your cap faster?
It's just like a % on more conquest. You can get it from Ashran too. I actually got one when I did that the other day.
Interesting.
And I killed the boss. It was in the box. And they're account wide too. I mailed it to my other character. So you can get one on your main and Ashran and then send it to your ult, which.
That's pretty cool.
But I really like Supa's idea with garrison points, though, to buy it.
Yeah. So that being said, I guess to simplify it, we all kind of agree that gearing right now kind of lost like its spark. It's like I felt like before when I first started playing this game that the progression of my gear made me feel really good, but now I just feel like I'm shit until I'm fully geared. You know what I mean? Do you guys feel similar to that? Do you feel like you can't even compete in this game unless you're fully geared?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I think
Yeah, I do.
I think progression of gear is okay, but I think there shouldn't be a differential between like if someone starts like a week later than someone else. I don't think
Yeah.
like that like it's like okay, well this guy has 4 pieces more than you because he started playing 2 weeks earlier. Like that doesn't make sense. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be a factor. Because like sure, progression does feel great because it's like oh hey, I got this next piece. I'm gonna have bigger numbers. I'm gonna do bigger damage. I'm gonna kill this guy faster. But like everyone else should have a fair, equal progression.
It's interesting how the gearing process can shift the metagame too, but I feel like it'd be more easier for them to balance and tweak the metagame if everyone's on the full same page from day one of a season.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah, I bet you there'd be a lot like right
They'd
now.
have more time to tweak the game and understand the curve of what's going on.
Yeah, they're like trying to take feedback from the game, and it's constantly changing. That's incredibly irritating. So speaking of having empathy from Blizzard's point of view, so if they were to make gearing a faster process, what do you think some of the consequences would be, Mr. Supa?
I was actually thinking about that a little bit, and I was thinking that this will be controversial, but whatever, that boosting would become a lot more prominent because players can just get level 100, log on, and be like, hey, I want a gladiator title, but I suck. I'm going to go to whatever.com and don't go to that website. I don't know what that is. But and try and then buy it. That I could see that being a problem.
What do you think, Nahj? Do you see
I don't really think it would really affect boosting that much. I feel like all the people that would buy a boost at some point would already have a cap from even just casual game playing this late in the season and stuff like that. But most people don't buy boosts until like the last month of the season anyway, and by that time your last 2-week cap is really, really high for the catch-up cap.
Oh yeah, well like the catch-up cap like gives you full gear. Like I think it's like 3 or 4 weeks before the end of the season, so you have time.
Something that I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick was, from my point of view, as I run tournaments every week, I encourage the players that come into our tournament to have more compositions than just one, just because I really want to prevent counter comping, as you guys can imagine, but at the same time it's very hard to seed without being biased, you know what I mean? It's like trying to get teams with like a 50% chance of winning, it's very difficult to do, so that's like one of the biggest things for me, and I feel like if gearing was easier, there'd be more alts and more multi-classing, and my life would be easier, you know what I mean? And I feel like this game, especially as it's slowed down, seems very, very rock, paper, scissory. You know what I mean? As like you can almost tell, you can tell right away who has a bigger advantage as soon as you look at the enemy team. And I kind of like in a tournament format, I feel like we can still determine who's the better team by adding variables like more players, or not more players, but more composition options. And Mr. Nessper, you've been playing RLD for a while, and that comp is awesome. But do you feel like every composition should be equal to one another, or at least a couple? How about one composition per class?
Well, okay. Well, that does make sense. Like, sure, like comps, it shouldn't be as rock paper scissors. Like right now, like something like RMD can like go up against, let's say, God comp, and like by simple principles of game mechanics, RMD should win the matchup. Simply, like it's very simple. Like it has much more instant cross CC right off the bat with cheap shots, kidney shots into a clone and poly, and deep freeze as well. So with all the instant CC, like it's just a hard counter. But I think overall, most of these hard counters are less of like the game being on a slower pace is part of the reason. But I think another really big part of that is from Blizzard overall simplifying the game. If you have less abilities to counter enemy mechanics, then of course there's going to be more hard counters. With less and less abilities, the more and more that's going to become a thing. So the more and more they try to simplify the game, remove CC, and dumb down the game, it's going to get worse. Like, it's not going to get any better.
Right.
Like, when the game was more complicated, like in Wrath and Cataclysm, like, there weren't as many hard counters. Like, sure they were, because like some classes were blatantly overpowered and they would blatantly counter other classes, and it was, but I mean, that's always going to be a thing. But like right now it's like, okay, well, this comp is better than that comp in every situation, and there's no situation where that's not going to happen.
I'd kind of disagree with that a lot, but I'll let Super go.
Well, which parts of it? No, I actually want to hear this. Go.
The counters, mainly in Cataclysm, there's a lot of, just 3 comps ever queuing. You pretty much see your 3 DPS queuing into ROS and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like the God comp versus RMD problem has nothing really to do with the less buttons. I feel like even if less buttons, the game can still be more complex if it's faster paced. The problem with RMD versus God comp is Shadow Priests die and Rogues don't die. You just have that varying degree level of tankiness.
Yeah.
Shadow Priests just get soloed by Rogues at some point in the game. And I don't really feel like that's a problem with mechanics. I just feel like there's just such a varying degree of tankiness between classes.
Yeah, I may have used the bad
It makes matchups
like,
really scripted because it's like Train the Blue syndrome of this matchup is just completely screwed because like these 2 targets can't die, these 2 targets can't die, but this guy can die, and it's just really one-dimensional.
Yeah. No, I may have used a bad example, but like I'm sure you understand that like there are certain matchups out there that does exist, and it's extremely one-sided.
Yeah.
Right. I absolutely see where you're going with that, Nessper. But one thing I feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because you guys definitely would know this more than me. Q and the ladder a lot more. I feel like the diversity of compositions is slowly getting more vast. I feel like in the past there was. Like you were just saying, there was 3 comps, like you were saying that, Nahj. Do you feel like WoD has brought a bit more diversity, even though that the balance might be a little bit off? What do you think about that?
I don't really feel like there's that much diversity at all. It's pretty much either RMD, Holy Pally God Comp, Turbo, and TSG, and that's all I ever see on ladder. And then Junk.
For God tier, I'd agree with you there, but I felt almost as if there were certain classes and that actually didn't have the ability. Or at least there was 1 or 2. As a Ret Paladin 2 seasons ago, there was 3 Ret Paladins in the beginning of MoP that were above 2,500. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they're freaking everywhere, as you guys could see.
I mean, I feel like Rets are just completely hit or miss based on patch. They're either way too good or they're just bleh. You had their season 11 where people played Ret DK. That was really, really good. And then
Triple DPS.
And then they were really, really good in season 6 and
Triple DPS, yeah.
I'm surprised nobody's trying it.
I don't know, Supa. I think.
I'm glad nobody's trying it. It's a cancer.
I actually tried it with Dillipu and Evangeline. We killed a druid through Trinket, Bear Form, and Double Skin. It was glorious.
Exactly. I can't believe that it wouldn't work. I mean,
he died instantly.
So,
if you want to counter comp to those dampening teams, you should try.
Great. The strats.
All right, so I think we've beaten up gearing to death, but I wanted to move on to the next question, which is this 10% nerf that happened. So when this 10% nerf actually happened, all the damage actually got nerfed. Do you feel like that was a positive change, Supa?
I think it's good that they experimented, and then I think it's good that they listened and reacted to what a large amount of players are saying, even up higher. I feel like that they should make another change and more specifically address classes that are a bit out of control. Would be nice, because it wasn't necessarily every comp or every class that's damage was too high. It was more specific classes, specific comps. It really was more burst damage than anything else that was kind of a problem, and that was because they buffed the burst trinkets. And I'm not sure if Nahj can agree or disagree, but are you running double unuse trinket now?
Of course.
Yeah, so that's a huge difference than before, because almost every class that has a 1 minute CD, like BM Hunters, Subtly Rogues, Frost Mages a little bit. I don't think Frost Mages run double, but yeah, the burst is so high. They always have an on-use trinket for their cooldowns, so their damage seems even higher than where it would normally sit. So,
what I was gonna say is it's about equal to lining up your proc trinket with on-use last patch, but yeah, it's like having an on-demand proc trinket as well. Yeah. But obviously your stars aligned burst would still be higher having a proc trinket and an unused. Just the opportunity cost of having both now that they're better in general. But
yeah, you brought up an interesting point there too, Supa, that you were saying that the 10% nerf did different things for different compositions. Like I feel as if there's like compositions that have different roles almost. Like you have compositions that have like say an advantage in the later game, and then you have compositions that need to set up a kill, and then things along those lines. And I felt like in a later game, the 10% damage nerf almost helped. But at the same time, how do you feel about that, Nessper? When they nerf damage by 10% across the board, do you feel like that was a good change, or?
I don't think it was a good change, but I mean, it was the holy grail for RLD. Like, that was my time to shine, man. Like, damage was lower, dampening was at its prime. Like, I was in a good spot. RLD in general was in a good spot, because, I mean, we beat dampening teams.
Yeah.
And, like, we struggle against the heavy burst teams. Like, that's what's hard for us, is because, like, we can't like survive their burst, and we can't bring it to that late game. So
did you beat the real dampening comps like Demon LSD though?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Maybe nobody played it on US. That's good.
We fought Novos queuing it, but I mean that was it.
Yeah. Not many Ellie's over
got,
here.
Like
in
it
the US.
got to the late game, and like they did. I mean, with Demo LSD, it was really like it was rather bursty than pressure oriented. Like we had
lower expressed, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, the burst is insane. Like we still almost died like later in the game, but we were able to recover before their burst came back.
All right. Well, that being said, Supa, you also mentioned that you liked. I want to mention that too. Is that even though the specific changes that occur, you know, I 100% agree with. I just love that there's changes happening often. I like changes that. I like that they're doing them quickly. Like, for example, I hated that stagnant, like, long seasons that no change ever occurred, and it just got so boring. So I love that changes are happen. But now that they reverted it back, I feel like that was a good decision. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm so happy that it's reverted. Sub-Rogue was just not viable. Nothing died ever. Everyone just lived at 10% every game. And it's good for Disc Priest too, but like Supa was saying, they still need to get rid of the actual problem specs, like, you know, BM, combats, feral druids, the healing, like Resto, Holy Pallies, even Enhance, like, off healing in general.
Healing is really good.
Yeah.
I feel like class identity or comp identity is kind of getting washed away. Like, when I commentated the European tournament last weekend and there was a turbo cleave, it was like, why is this going to dampening? Why is turbo cleave going to dampening? This is not what this is supposed to do. This is supposed to make you scared and run away if you don't peel them. Like,
right.
And I was like, what happened to this? Like, this is not what an enhancement shaman is supposed to be. Like, yes, you have utility. You're supposed to have tremor totem, grounding totem. Like, you're supposed to be like a CC blocker, but you're also supposed to be like bursty, not kind of.
I feel like it's always been kind of just to tickle somebody and not let them play their game the whole entire game. I feel like that's what Turbo's always been about. Kind of like how Enhanced Rogue was in Kata. Where it was just about like training that mage and just gouging him on cooldown and annoying him. That's what Turbo's kind of always been to me.
But I mean, at least last expansion, my experience with Turbo was just, hey, let's try to kill the mage before he can block.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, he's in a global, let's kill him. Like that was Turbo Cleave for me last expansion.
Yeah.
And like now, Enhancement Shamans, they're a support class, like purely a support class. Like they have like a third of the damage of warriors in a lot of games, or like half. They do like their damage is almost negligible. Like they're a purge, they're a win share, and overall they're a goalie. They just slow the game down.
Yeah. Stealing my metaphors.
I'm sorry, I'm Canadian. Goalies, my country's right. I'm gonna have to claim that one.
I think most people would like enjoy the game better if specs weren't like immortal. Like some specs, like Enhancement Shaman against some teams, it can feel immortal, and it's almost like, okay, we got Shamrage again. Okay, let's come back. Okay, we got it again. Okay, let's come back. Oh, we got it. Okay, and I feel like I would rather be every class be able to be punished. Like if you push in and you don't have a cooldown and you screwed up or something, you're trying to be aggressive and you get caught out and then you die. Like that's how the game should feel. It shouldn't be like I'm just always going to press this cooldown when they press this cooldown and I can stand wherever I want and do whatever I want, because that doesn't matter. As long as I hit this button at this specific time, then I will live. So I feel like that would add more depth to the game than, like, I like cooldown trading. I think there's maybe a little bit too many cooldowns defensively and offensively, but positioning for some classes is almost irrelevant. Like, I'm picking on Nessper, but like when a combat rogue is just like, I'm going to train you, I don't care what you do. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to hit you. Okay, I got cloak. A minute later, I'm hitting you again. Oh, cloak again. I'm going to hit you, cloak again. And it's like, okay, at some point, like, I think every class needs to be able to play defensively and realize when they need to do it and then react properly to do it, and not just kind of. And that goes to abilities like Nahj is posting about Flame Glow and like 10% Warlock damage reduction.
Eternal
like all
Resolve,
this passive, all this passive healing, passive mitigation doesn't make you like, you shouldn't feel good. Like, okay, I'm a hunter, I'm running away and I'm healing myself. Like, it's just kind of it's inactive as opposed to kind of reactive. I like what they did with warriors, like where they have shield barrier, some of their abilities put them in battle stance, and then they can activate back into D stance, and they need to always actively be thinking. And I think warriors are reasonably not immortal to most things.
Right.
And I actually like that design from arena standpoint, but there's a lot of specs that kind of just stand there and get to live. And it's like, okay, I'll keep feint up, I'll keep feint up, I'll keep feint up. And then, I mean, it's also unfair, right? And then you get stunned without feint, you're dead.
Right.
You're dead. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, when that's your only counter, it's not fun for the person fighting that class, and it's not really fun. I wouldn't think it should be fun to die sometimes like that, but
yeah,
seems like it kind of got lost.
Dude, I actually lost what our original.
Yeah, I just wandered off into no man's land.
No,
we're talking about turn-based combat around cooldowns and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say there's a whole bunch more problems, like 30-second forbearance bops, saved by the light, 1 minute Iron Bark, 1 minute NS.
Yeah, very.
It's way too easy to top people. The
Yeah.
healing is just way too powerful still, even with the damage nerf being reverted.
And the cooldowns are so short, you can't even really consider like that a trade. If they use that, you're like, well, that was free, you know.
Just always up.
So so we could probably talk for days and days and days about the specifics of the balance of the game, like individual abilities. But I'm gonna switch it over to a different topic here now. What do you guys think about the Blizzard Streamer Awards? Do you think that this was a good idea by Blizz? I kind of love it. I mean, I might not love everything about like who won, especially in the StarCraft community. I won't go into that because this is a WoW talk show. But what do you guys think about that, Nessper?
I haven't looked too much into it, but from what I've gathered, like, it's just people vote for whichever streamer is their favorite, and I mean, sure, it's cool, it's fun, it's interesting, but like, was there like a reward or something? I didn't really look into it at all.
It started at $2,000.
Okay.
For the first place of each category.
Okay, well, I mean, of course, like, most people have a lot bigger fan bases than other people. Like, people like Swifty have like 2,000 to 3,000 viewers around the clock, 24 hours a day. And people like Vanruki was on the list, right? Vanruki will come on. He'll come live every day, and he'll get maybe as much on a much like more dispersed schedule.
Yep.
So I mean, fan base and stream schedules are of course going to be an issue, but I mean, yeah, it's fun, it's exciting.
What do you think, Supatease? Do you think that this was a good idea, or do you think that they, or do you think that is there any consequence to this? Basically, is what I'm asking you guys. Is there?
I think there were probably some players that felt left out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you look at the award, it's kind of like it's a stream award, right? It's not who has the highest rating or who is the best mage in the world or who is the best whatever in the world. It's who is the best streamer. So who has the most viewers, who has the biggest fan base, who supports them the most. When it comes down to it, I think maybe where they might have screwed up a little bit for the people that might feel bad at getting left out is including it as PvP, like directly like PvP as the only thing. So people might misread into that and then feel left out.
Yeah. Now I'm probably way too loud.
What I was gonna say is that's kind of what Super said, but it's really, really subjective in terms of how you would actually categorize all that kind of stuff. And in terms of people being left out, like Peekaboo wasn't included in the poll. I mean, he doesn't really stream regularly, but he definitely deserved to be up there because he's actually PvP, compared to maybe somebody like Mitch Jones, where he literally streamed WoW PvP like twice that entire year practically. Because that's when he was starting to get really bored with WoW, and he was pretty much second place to winning. It's really just a popularity contest of how much name someone is worth, not really what they're actually doing streaming. Yeah. And I remember hearing Duck Sauce being really upset that he like won the PvE section of it when he doesn't really PvE at all.
I mean, Duck Sauce is just a talk show. Like
I know, but I mean, he's a really casual. He's a really good example of what like streaming could become in the future because he's just so professional. He's like a Co-Carnage, but for like WoW, and with a perfect radio voice.
So basically, if I were to dumb it down a little bit, you like that Blizzard was sort of getting involved, but you don't like that it was a popularity contest and not about the content?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess that's a simplified, dumbed down version. But I agree 100%. I didn't think of it from that perspective. I was just looking at it from a perspective, I guess, because you guys can have a bit of empathy for these guys because you're players and you put your ass on the line and you stream and so yeah. I like that Blizzard's getting involved though. I think that that's really cool. I want to see Blizzard doing more of stuff like this, but I don't know. I guess the popularity contests aren't the way to go. But do you think that they should do things like this more often? And if so, what kind of poll would you think of next? So like maybe not necessarily your like the favorite, but I just want Blizzard involved, but I don't know how. So any ideas to how we could get Blizzard involved more like this? Like if anybody know?
I think it's more of just open free PR for them and publicity to kind of do this kind of thing and just actually get more out of the Twitch community. Because, I mean, most people that are streaming are giving Blizzard free advertisement forever. But I don't really... I think they should just be more involved with their community regardless. Like, they shouldn't be incentivizing it like that much. It should just be something for the community to really have fun. Right. And then give an award. Like, I feel like there's just so much more money Blizzard could put to encourage people to actually stream and get the publicity of the game up. Like, Riot does so much more to support their actual players and stuff. And actually, you know, overlaying their own tournaments and stuff like that. But obviously, WoW doesn't really have that kind of client to do that kind of stuff.
I'd like to add to that, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think, like, with games like League of Legends, like, 100% of their player base, like, they have, what, like, 30 million something players? Like, WoW has roughly, let's say roughly 10 million subscribers. The player base, like the PvP competitive player base, is around, let's say 500,000 as a high estimate. So that's like, what, like less than 5? No, it's roughly like 5%. Like, no, it's not even 5%. Like that's incredibly low.
Yeah.
Like it's not even. Like 95% of their population and game player base is around PvE. Like that's what people play this game for. So I mean, sure, it would be nice to have them be more involved with the community and like from a competitive esports point of view. But I mean, they don't have the numbers to really probably even get it past like a suggestion stage in Blizzard. Like, it's not popular enough, flat out.
I think at some point though, throwing money at it does alleviate that a little bit. I feel like they just put so little into it besides BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot. Well, I'm fucking putting the hours in, aren't I? But I think that there's a lot of what's the term I'm looking for? Potential in this community. I really do.
Oh yeah. There is and
I
there
mean,
isn't.
in Wrath, there was at least a couple million PvPers, I would say, at that point.
Yeah. Well, there is and there isn't. Like things like League of Legends and like popular games like Counter-Strike, like stuff like that. Like it's really easy and it's really easy to like watch it and just pick up on it right away. Like someone who's unfamiliar with WoW, if they go to a WoW stream and watch a WoW tournament, like they have no idea what's going on. Like they see a bunch of stuff, a bunch of cooldowns with numbers, and it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like what's happening?
That's
I don't understand.
Man. That's my
Which
daily
team
struggle.
won? Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like I think that's definitely one of the biggest problems too.
Yeah.
Like
So,
numbers and accessibility.
that being said, so WoW is very overly complicated when looking at it from a spectator's point of view. If you were to add something to like the interface or anything at all to make WoW better to watch, what would you do? Is there any idea that you think that would make that easier, Supa?
Well, I think the UI that Vadrak's working on is getting there. Like the first biggest step for like watching WoW is getting the health bars above people's heads to know where the hell they are. because even when you're playing the game, like your team marks each other. Like you put circle on someone's head and you put square on someone's head because you're looking at the game and it gets so kind of washed with all the different animations and everything that you lose track of where the people are, right? And I think I like the direction they're going with more abilities, kind of like Death from Above, Comet Storm. Even though Barrage is kind of OP, Barrage is like visually it looks more intense. You don't really need to even understand what it does. You just look at it and you're like, oh wow, that guy's shooting a bunch of bullets all at the same time. Like that looks cool, right? It's the same thing in League where it's like Graves goes in, he pops his ult, and it's a giant missile that flies forward, and you're just like, okay, I know what happened. He just blew them all. He just blew them all up.
Yeah,
right. It's a little more. Yeah.
So can you give me an example of like, yeah, I love that. That's a really good point. I didn't even think of that. That visually, when you're looking at those animations, anyone could be like, yep, that guy's doing a fuck ton of damage now, all of a sudden, you know? But is there like the opposite? What abilities off the top of your head do you think do something that's very significant to the game, but doesn't represent it very well in its animation?
Shadow Dance, Killing Spree, a lot of rogue offensive cooldowns, honestly. Like, Killing Spree looks exactly like Cloak of Shadows. It's the same thing, except you're just performing the gouge animation and the feint animation over and over and over again.
What I was going to say, though, is if the Spectator client isn't repeating a bleed sound over and over again, sounds can still, you know, do a good point to identify. Like, Killing Spree has a really unique sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. So, wow. That's awesome ideas to consider. Cool. Do you guys have anything else, Nessper? Do you have any other ideas that would, basically, I'm asking you out of my selfish needs. Out of the off the top of your head, do you think of anything that could help simplify the game for a spectator?
Well, I mean, what Supatease said with the visual aspects, like that's a huge thing. Like with major cooldowns, of course, need to be like you need to know when that's happening, rather than just like, okay, like this guy popped a button, like that's it. Like something like evasion, even it's like, oh, where'd he go? I can't really see him. Like it's everything. Like things are it's so minuscule and small, but like stuff like that needs to be bigger. It needs to be larger than life. But I mean, of course, that causes a problem with, again, going back to the 95% player base, where like you have 25 people in a raid, and it's like, okay, well, if people are popping huge visual cooldowns, I swear to God, like there's no way you're gonna have enough people in that raid whose computers can handle it. Like, unless you're the top raiding guild, nobody's gonna be able to handle it. Like, that's another problem. Like, is game quality. Like, there's so many factors. It's just.
Didn't they change projected textures in PV though, where you can only see so many other players' animations at once now?
I think
yeah,
did, actually.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
that helps like raid FPS a lot. So I don't think that's a problem anymore.
That's another really great point that I didn't even think about. That like I'm like, why don't they just make everything look cool? And then you're like, oh, because this is why. So yeah, this is like the fourth time this has happened to me today. So, Nahj, anything else to add to these two?
I kind of already forgot what I was gonna say.
Dude, okay, so I'm gonna pause the show.
We're talking about improving the UI, and I was gonna say first they need to really polish up the actual standard UI more than just like the tournament UI as well. But there's a lot of things they could do more with like buffs and debuffs. Like maybe they have an idea where they want to have everyone to have like a working interrupt bar. Maybe put like, interrupts on your debuffs. Like if you get kicked, whether you fake it or it lands, just get a debuff on your actual player that says, you know, kicked, like 15-second debuff, and then it just, you know, you can actually see when kick's coming off cooldown, and just really lower the idea that people need add-ons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That way more casual players can get into the game without having to worry about like installing Curse Client or understanding what their WTF folder is or anything like that. Because usually there is a casual player audience for any game.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to like mod and tweak everything.
That's another good point. Making the game easier to play would definitely make it easier for people to learn to play to watch the game. That's a solid point. Okay, so I'm gonna pause the show real quick here. My fucking mic keeps lowering its own volume.
I actually just heard it there.
Well, I don't know. Have you guys ever ran into this? Every single time I talk, I'm watching the volume of my mic go down.
It's probably Skype. So click the bar thing that looks like an internet connection. Go to
I think you just
microphone.
go to tools and you just make sure it doesn't auto adjust.
Automatically adjust microphone settings. Thank you. God, I'm like holding my mic settings here while trying to read the topics.
Yeah.
Fucking retarded. Okay. Sorry, I'm done raging. And so now I have a special section of the show here for you guys. It's called the noob section, which basically I asked a while ago, and I haven't gone through all the questions quite yet, but it's questions that were asked on Reddit, on battle.net, lots of different forums, and I'll ask some popular questions for you guys. What is the fastest way to gear up, Nahj?
Like for blues, I would assume AFKing in Ashran and just doing the events. My EU rogue got full blues and revered with Ashran in about like 3 or 4 hours. Just doing the events and looting fragments and turning them in. Definitely the easiest way, I think.
And if grinding things out is not your cup of tea, too bad. Yeah. Welcome to World of Warcraft.
Anything else that you guys can add to that?
My friend, he leveled up a druid, and apparently there's a secret farming tactic for honor in Ashran. So druids can get flight form from some item in Ashran. It drops off a boss. I can't remember exactly, but you need to get flight form. You download Handy Notes, I think, and it shows you all these little satchels that can spawn randomly on the map. And you just fly around and you loot them. And like every satchel is like 400 honor. And you just fly around looting these bags for like an hour and a half, and you're fully honor geared as a druid.
What the hell? There it is. Druid OP, man.
That. He told me that, and I was like, wait, what? So it's a very small way, and it only, I guess you could do it with other classes, but you'd have to run. The only reason it works with druid is because you can fly, I think.
All right. Well, there you go. That's a good answer. So, yeah. What about Conquest gear? Is there any secret, special, awesome way to gear up Conquest faster?
It's gotta be between YOLO RPGs and, again, the Ashran events. Because, I mean, every Ashran event you win, you get 100 Conquests. And, I mean, like, you go to the group finder thing, there's, like in prime time, at least, there's, like, 10 to 20 groups that are just farming Ashran events. Because, I mean, for certain phases, there's Horde's going to win everyone on this phase, and Alliance is going to win everyone on that phase. So people just join those groups, you just steamroll through the events, and after, like, probably 2 hours, you'll be Conquest Cap for the week.
Cool. There it is. Boom. Next question. So a big question that I've been getting is when people have asked what's the best way to improve in this game, it's playing. It's always been the one answer, and then the second answer is watch streams. So that being said, do you guys recommend any specific stream when it comes to the educational value of it? Nahj?
Everyone's going to be so biased.
I'm gonna switch that up a bit.
It really just depends on what class spec you are and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I don't really think there's that many educational streams at all.
There aren't.
I think
there's literally about 0.
You have to be able to educate yourself as well. Like
that's probably the biggest thing, yeah.
Like if you're gonna watch a stream, you don't just like sit there and watch and you see like, oh, he did all that right. Like you can't look at it that way. You have to look at it from a different perspective. You have to say, okay, what did he do wrong, and what can I do better? You have to crucify yourself almost. Like if you go into a game and you lose a game, don't be like, oh, my druid didn't heal me, that's why I died. Like you can't just do that. Like that's not gonna work. That's not gonna make you any better. It's like, well, I'll replace the druid and I'll gain 300 rating. I can be the best with him. Like, no, like, just focus on your own mistakes, and eventually, when you get better and better, people will notice. It's like, oh, hey, this guy's doing more things right. He's not making mistakes. I want to try playing with this guy. And like, sure, it's a long process, but like that's what you have to do. You can't you have to look at your own mistakes and improve on them. You have to become a better player yourself rather than rely on others.
Well, that's good to say is if you're watching someone to try to emulate their playstyle, like say I'm watching Peekaboo, you're not just watching to say, oh, he sapped that trinket. You're watching to see the things that actually work in his mindset to make sure why he's making this decision. Like if he's step kicking, can he get back to his target? You're not just trying to do those things just because they did it. If he's just step kicking a healer on cooldown, that doesn't mean you're supposed to do that. You have to understand, because that's how you learn bad habits, is you can just think that's the way you're supposed to play the game and do it, but it's more of understanding why they're doing it. And most people don't actually get that from any WoW streams, because there's not really that much over-analyzing and commentary. It's just watching the actual gameplay, and you have to actually learn from the gameplay by trying to understand it instead of just the end result.
So I like this. You guys are like answering the questions, but you're explaining why the questions have not been answered yet, because these questions have been asked thousands and hundreds of times all over every forum, and I like that you guys are explaining why these questions are kind of loaded. But what were you gonna say, Supa?
I was going to say, like, maybe not even a specific stream, but, like, let's say you play a certain class, like, watch with streams that play those classes, or a specific comp. Maybe they're playing the comp that you want to play, or you're playing, and then focus on meaningful things, like focus on CC. Like, what CC is this team trying to get? When are they getting it? What do they need to do to chain it together? I think like getting CC is more complicated for a new person. Like, I'm going to polymorph him, and then what do we do out of that? Like, as an example, and like watching that, focusing on one thing as opposed to just watching him and being like, man, he just killed him really fast. I need to kill people really fast. and you just think that's the only way it works. But sometimes there are smaller things. But yeah, if you're going to be watching streams, definitely looking at the title, seeing like what class you want to learn to play, and just looking at specific things. So CC is one, cooldown management is another one. So when does he bark skin, or when does he ice block? Knowing that is like more important than like, I don't know, like that's what you should be looking for when you're looking to learn from a stream. Even if it's not an educational stream, you can still find that information if you know what you're looking for.
All right, I dig it. Next question.
I was gonna add on to what Supa just said there, though, but there's also a big part of noticing trends in terms of how a game actually progresses at a higher level than the bracket you're used to, and it's just like if you actually like made like a business plan and wrote out every little thing in a game, and just said like analyzed what exactly every cooldown did in that game, like say this vanish forced bubble, this re-stealth forced nimble, and then dance no nimble no bubble, and you kind of write a game plan out like that, and notice why higher end players force more cooldowns with less cooldowns than lower end players. Because like at the end of the day, it is like turn-based combat around cooldowns. Mm-hmm. And like the biggest difference in like a hyper aggressive pressure of like a really high rated team, like if you see Jamili's team, is that they always seem to force way more enemy cooldowns with way less offensive cooldowns than everybody else. And it's more of just trying to emulate how to do that based on how clean your setups are.
All right. Boom. All right, so I got a couple questions via Twitter. Speen asks a question for Nessper. What are his opinions on the kickbots being used in Arena at the moment by some people?
Okay, well that's obviously a reference to I like to call them my clones.
I've seen your clones, man.
Yeah, so there's I'm not sure if it's one person or two people, but one of them has the exact same mog, but and of course there's the Pink Rangers clone as well, and they've created matching Twitch accounts as well as the real fake Pink Rangers and the fake Nessper. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really mind. I don't have any alts. There's so many more like worse things that are said about me that of course aren't true. And like if you watch my stream, like I miss every kick. That's my patented thing. I don't land kicks. Why would I kickbot? I stream all the time. I don't land any. I miss every kick. Seriously, that's my patented thing. It's like, this guy missed 12 kicks and he still won. Well, yeah, it's because I play RLD. Come on, guys. You should know this by now. I don't.
Or you're really, really good at scripting, and only your shadow person knows how to pre-deadly throw. Like,
yeah, exactly. And of course,
character to fake.
Of course, I play Thug Cleave with the Jelly Beans clone at 2400 all the time. Like, come on, guys, that's my favorite thing to do. Me and Jelly Beans are tight. I got him on Real ID. I hit him up all day. We're the best of friends. But unfortunately, no.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I guess this isn't really a question, but I'll read it anyway. Legacy Andrews says, 1, I see Supatease isn't naked for once. Props to him. And also, how does one get their 15K conquest cap done? I think we kind of went over that, huh?
Cry and beg your best friend.
Yep.
To cap you in twos endlessly.
No, seriously, the best way to do that, like if you can't find partners to cap, just literally go into Ashran, go to the group finder, get in an Ashran event group, and like honestly, you could probably just get on your mount and follow someone that's moving or leading it around, and you'll just get conquest.
For 15,000 plus though, like if every event is like 10 minutes apart for 100 each.
That's true, but
that would take like a week, if not more, of non-stop grinding.
Yeah, I think you just.
It's not necessarily 10 minutes apart. Like I've been in several where it's like 3 to 4 minutes apart. It's like about, like, let's put it this way. Let's say every arena queue, it takes an average of 10 seconds to pop, and you need, well, if you're playing double DPS, game average is 1 to 2 minutes, so that's like 2 minutes 15 seconds, and that's if you win. That's considering you win every game.
Yeah,
So I'd say it's about the same. However, like the conquest gain, of course, is less from the Asheron events. But I mean, both systems have their merits. Both have their faults. It's like everything.
Dude, nice. So I'm gonna move on to the next question, and the next question in the noob section is: would you recommend coaching to a new player? Can you explain briefly what happens during a coaching session? And my own question added to this is: do you guys offer coaching sessions? Supa.
Not right now. I don't offer them right now, but I would consider it. I think more or less, like if you're absolutely new to the game, you should just look up your PvE damage rotation. And if some of them don't translate exactly over to PvP, but as long as you have that, like I remember when I switched to Moonkin for the first time, whenever I wasn't doing something, I was attacking a training dummy. I don't know why. I actually think I had fun doing it back then, just attacking a training dummy. And I just did that over and over and over, and that was in Cataclysm, and it just got to the point where like I was doing the most damage out of everyone. And just, I don't know, you can't expect to like pick up the game and be like, I'm going to be 2400. Like, I mean, the game also gates you a little bit with requiring achievements and requiring everything else to get people to play with you and everything like that, which is kind of lame, but like just learn your damage rotation. Maybe watching streams. Coaching, I think, would be beneficial, though. You can't deny that it would be. I think it would definitely might be hard to find, though. I don't know many players that would actively do it, other than maybe Tony Styles. I think he might be the only guy.
So Nahj, same question.
So first, I'm going to sell out a little bit and say I've been trying to do this thing for like the last month and a half, where on Sundays I coach all of my subscribers if they send me clips. Like I just watch over the games, analyze every little thing, both sides.
That's a really good idea.
And stuff like that. But I don't have that many subs, and mostly nobody's been actually sending me clips. I haven't done it the last 3 weeks in a row because I just haven't got clips.
Had enough of content.
Yeah, I was gonna consider doing it for non-subs just to kind of encourage more people to sub, but yeah, with that selling out of the way, I don't really think coaching is really that important. I think understanding the basic mechanics from just playing the game a lot is a lot more important. Like Supa was saying, you need to learn how to actually do your damage, and then you need to learn how to actually get CC as a team, and then after that is when you get the coaching to get a little bit more mental knowledge on learning how to think from someone that's actually better than you's point of view. To just like understand the mindset of what they're trying to do. Right. And play every matchup. But I think mostly just learning how to do damage and learning how to do CC, like you can't really coach that besides like, I don't know, it's just so basic. You just need to play a lot.
As far as coaching stuff goes, I think it would be nice to have like an ability to, like in Hearthstone now, I think you can jump into your friend's game and watch them and be like, oh, you're stupid. Why did you play that? Why did you miss that? You missed whatever, right? So like that's really easy, and people can just help their friends whenever. Like they don't even need to ask. You can just join their game and be like, oh my god, what was that play? You missed this, and suddenly you've benefited from that, right? But in WoW, you can't really do that. You rely on the people you're playing with to kind of do what they have to do, and then also look at what you're doing, and really identifying what the problem is can be hard, at least for like a new player, I would think. So maybe adding like the ability to spectate a game from someone on your real ID or something. Like if they're in a threes game, you can click spectate game, use the Arena Live add-on, and spectate their game and be like, man, what was that smoke bomb? Like that you didn't even do anything with that or something, right? Like you can point out. I feel like coaching is hard to do in WoW just because the system is really difficult to get around to do it.
So, like, basically, you need to be able to see the interface and watch the player, and to do that, they need to record it or they need to stream it. But, Nessper, do you recommend coaching to a new player, and do you offer coaching lessons?
I offer coaching, but I mean, like Nahj said, like it's really about like the basic, like a lot of things, like the difference between, let's say, like a 1700 player and like a 2200 player, like it's so minuscule. Like it literally is. It's the basics. It's like, do you know how to deal your damage? Do you know what CCs are? It's basic game knowledge, and I think, like, if you're going to coaching for something like basic game knowledge, like that's not necessarily something like a higher rated player, like say like Peekaboo. I'm not even going to say myself because I don't deserve that, but like someone like higher rated like Peekaboo or generic that offers coaching, like they're not being like teaching you basic game mechanics. It's not going to be worthwhile. Like anyone can do that. Like you can actually like Google basic game mechanics and you could figure it out. Like in 20 minutes if you actually put your mind to it. Like having the mindset that like, oh hey, if I talk to this person in specific, then I'll get better magically. Like that's not, it's not gonna work like that. Like I mean, you have to, again, it's more of your own mindset rather than relying on someone else to do it for you.
I'll make a higher end objection to that though. Is when I was learning combat after the 10% nerf, I talked to Waz and he helped me out a bunch on just like understanding when to do what and when.
Yeah.
I learned so much from him within one day of just talking to him.
Yeah, I have never had coaching sessions myself just because I've been too poor. Because I would have loved, like, when I was first coming up in the scene, I would have loved to have nabbed some coaching. And I actually got the opportunity to have a couple people coach me and, like, watch my stream and help me out. Specifically, EU players were helping me out. And things that I've noticed that I do in my gameplay that I don't want to say tunnel vision, but I can't recognize because of my mindset changes. Like, I did not realize that positioning was that big of an issue for me until, yeah. Are you raising your hand?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'd like to add on what Nahj was saying about like how he talked to Waz. Like, I mean, again, like obviously, like you already have that basic game knowledge, and talking to someone who has a more deeper understanding of like when to do things, like that wouldn't help as much for someone who lacks the basic game knowledge. Like again, it's like a pyramid, it's like levels. So while it may have helped you very well, like it wouldn't necessarily help a 1700 player because they don't even know when to press Sinister Strike. Or maybe not, but like I'm over exaggerating, but still.
Right.
Sorry for the hand raise. I just.
No, I liked it. That was cool. It's a new rule now.
I think if it raises their hand though, you actually have to call them.
Okay. Okay. So we'll test this. Anyone want to talk? Nahj.
What's up?
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a good system unless someone's already talking.
Yeah, it's true, huh? It's just like awkward sound. All right.
I was just for science.
All right, man. So, getting out of the noob section, now my own question here, which I ask everyone every time they come onto the show, is if you become a game developer for a day and we're allowed to make one change to the game to better it, what would it be? And I'll give you some examples of past players so you guys have an understanding of the question a little bit more of how silly it actually is. For example, Sony Digital, when asked this question, said that he would balance the entire game around 1v1s and just have dueling arenas.
Oh god.
So it can be that silly, like whatever you want. I'll give you guys a few minutes or whatever to determine what change you would want in this game. But if you were a game developer for a day and were allowed to make one change to better the game, what would it be? And Nahj.
I'd
If I were a developer for one day, I'd actually do my job and do more than one change. You know?
Oh
because
shit!
a lot needs to be done. But if I had to stick with one change, I'd probably just nerf healing by like 10 to 20% and then remove dampening. Even though that's two changes, but still.
Wow. That's actually really interesting. And you guys always fucking make me think outside of my little spectrum. So, Supa, do you have an answer yet, or?
Mine is small.
Alright, let's hear it.
I would fix, this is really small, I would fix tab targeting.
Oh shit, what do you mean?
I would go back to the way it was in Cataclysm when it wasn't broken. Because it's really frustrating when you're like, there's a healing stream right in front of you. You know it's the closest target in front of you, and you press tab, and you're suddenly targeting the hunter pet that's 40 yards away.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Fix it. I would fix it. It's a pet peeve of mine for so long, because it's been like that for so long. I miss the old tab.
Word. All right, Nessper, are you ready?
I'm still thinking about it. Can you come back to me?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to change, but like with one thing. Like,
you're only allowed to change one
yeah,
thing.
I'm gonna need a minute.
So what I would change, I actually don't even know. I'm trying to give Nessper more time. Let's see. I would, to better the game. What would I change? Man, I would change gearing. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the very first thing that we talked about. I would just make it so tournament gear is able to be used in arena. Boom.
It's a good change.
That would be my change, because then fucking multi-classing tournaments would be a thing. So make it happen.
Okay. Well, I actually got mine.
Alright.
I think percentage damage increases and decreases are a serious problem. I think that needs to be either
Like, never let it happen again, or... Oh,
either,
what do you mean?
Either reworked or just removed. Like, percentage increases and decreases that stack multiplicatively is just absurd. Like, personally,
Yeah.
like myself, like I'm honestly abusing it right now. Like, I have the 50% from red buff, and then I have another 10% from Prey on the Weak, and then I have another 15 or 16% from my on-use trinket, and then you add that all up, and it adds up to like 80% if you add it up multiplicatively, and it's absurd. It's stupid. It shouldn't, like, that shouldn't be a thing. Like, they tried to remove
less
it.
than additively though.
Not
It actually
necessarily.
is a little bit,
Not
like-
necessarily. Not necessarily. Because, okay, let's put it this way. You start at 100% damage, right? And then you add 50%, and now you're at 150%. So then you add 10%
But it doesn't
to
actually
100.
work that way though. Like when you have like, say like Feint and like Wall, you don't have 80% damage reduction. That's like 66%.
Okay, well, from an additive, from like a damage addition perspective, it does stack like that. From damage reduction, of course, like it does end up being less. But
Right.
when you're adding
take
damage, I
100%
think it's a
less
serious
damage.
problem. Yeah, like you go 150%, and then you add 10%, and now it's 165% rather than 160.
It's like a momentum effect, almost.
Yeah, like
'Cause
it's
takes
absurd. It's
it-
stupid.
it
It's
takes
a dumb
the-
game mechanic.
Yeah, so like you increase your damage by 50%, and you're at 150, then 10% of 150 would be more than
Yeah.
the original 100. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like yeah.
So
Okay, and of
stacking those
course-
things is always ideal, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's also a problem like with mages and rogues. Like, if I'm against the mage, I know I'm not going to die, ever. If I have Feint, like, every single one of a mage's offensive cooldowns is Area of Effect. So Feint already has a baseline 50% damage reduction on AoE. So Ice Nova hits me for like 10k, 8k. It's like, it's nothing. It's
Wow, I never
negligible.
actually thought of that.
It's a joke. Like, and even stuff with like Blade Storm, like I just sit in and it ticks for like 4k. I can just laugh at it. Like, it's stuff like that's just dumb. It shouldn't be in the game.
What I was saying is it isn't multiplicatively though. It is additively. So like if you have 50% AoE reduction from Feint and 30% damage reduction from the Feint talent, it's only 66%. It's not 80%.
I know.
It's
I know,
for
no, that
defensives,
is that
right?
is multiplicatively.
Which is still a lot.
That is multiplicatively.
I know. I'm saying it's not additively when you were saying the 150% example. When you're saying you're starting from
No,
100%,
I said
basically starting
multiplicatively.
from nothing.
You missed.
I know. I just said additively on accident. But what I was saying is that it's not really.
I mean, from
Like,
a purely
the
mathematical
red buff
perspective.
example, it's completely different than defensively. Defensively, it's a lot more
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
of a problem than it is offensively.
Yeah.
So would you make like the offensive similar to like the defensive that you're just saying? Like you're saying like those.
I would remove percentages overall, honestly. Like,
Okay.
I think percentages are just a silly mechanic in general.
Kind of overcomplicates.
I think it's
things,
easier
right?
to scale though when you go to percentages, because especially when you go higher gear on higher seasons. Like if
That's
it
true.
goes season and expansion, there's a lot more varying in numbers if you go by a raw rating, because they'll depreciate as gears go up. So I
It
think
is-
percent is a lot more of an easier number to actually
I
balance.
see.
It is
Yeah.
easier, but it also is a lot easier for it to get out of control.
It's a lot more consistent too. But, yeah, it is. It's a lot more snowballing.
All right, guys. Last question, and but quite possibly the most important of all. Who do you think is going to win GCD TV's 8th tournament? Supatease.
I have to look again. Skip me.
Okay. Have you guys looked at the team list? I can read it to you if you'd like.
I already know the answer.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
All right. Nah,
I know
it's
the
here.
answer to the question.
I would say Smush TKO, Jaws team, or Every
Yeah.
Kill Against A, Dilly's team. They're definitely the best two teams there. They deserve it the most, but depending on the brackets go, I'd say the Turbos are a wild card based on what matchups go what. Like
Yeah.
if Jaws playing sub into a Turbo, he might just go full tilt into like a 20-minute game.
That being said, though, we do
only turbo-
allow. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Nessper.
The only
I'm sure he'll
turbo,
play combat.
the only turbo that'll pose a problem for Jaws is gone.
Well,
And
I know Tony's and there's the other one too. There's two,
Tony's.
isn't there?
Yeah, there's two turbos.
Tony's against us first round, and they're
Oh, okay. I didn't actually look at the brackets. I just looked at the team list.
Nessper.
no. I mean, like going back to like it's like okay, well, the X matchup against X. It's like okay, well, I can call 100-0 who's gonna win what matchup. Like I can look at the bracket and I can tell you which team's gonna advance in which bracket. Like I've been right every week.
That being said, this bracket this week we've had more people. That is the second sub of this show. Thank you so much. Oh God, here we go. Ready? Casilla's cutie. Go ahead and tweet me if I pronounced your name incorrectly. I will get it right, I promise. But thank you so much for that sub. But
Casadillas. No, I'm kidding.
is it really?
No, I'm just fucking.
Fuck. God damn it. All right, but when it comes to like multiple compositions, I feel like this week is going to be pretty intense, especially Jaw's team. What do you think about Jaw's team when it comes to their versatility? Like
They wrecked me.
They wrecked you.
I beat him one time, and I'm gonna hold that one win from yesterday for the rest of my life. Because I never beat Jamili more than once.
One time, yeah.
I remember in MOP, I would duel him all the time whenever he had duel for gold, and Winkins just got destroyed by mages. I came up with so many weird things to try and beat him, and it never happened. It's so sad. But I definitely think he has a good chance. Especially with the 10% damage revert, I feel like RMD, God Comp, Ret Hunter is a lot better now because somebody won't live, like Nahj was saying earlier, with 10% health.
Right, it's a
big deal. And then you get an S off, and then they're full health, and you have to reset.
I was actually reading a post on AJ about the math between the 10% what actually makes it so big because of the difference in healing, and it was actually a really good point.
Dude, Ret Hunter wasn't even a thing there.
If you wanted to look at that graph, it actually makes a lot of sense.
So what your
for thought stuff?
Nahj, your prediction was Ja or Dilly? Supa. You got a idea yet?
Dilly's playing Ret Hunter?
Dilly's playing Ret Rogue Holy Paladin. That being said, I just want to add this. Dilly did hurt his hand.
Rogue Holy Paladin.
Oh, I'm sorry, no. Hunter Rogue. Yeah, he's playing Thug with a Holy Paladin.
Is anyone playing Red Hunter?
Yes, Evangeline is.
I think he has a good shot.
Really? I believe he's playing Hunter Restoration Shaman.
I think he still has a shot. I think it's going to be an RMD, a God Comp, or a Ret Hunter. I think that's what's going to win.
Wow. All right, then. There it is. So, Nessper, you got a prediction?
I think it's between two people, honestly. So, and unfortunately, they're both on the same side of the bracket. But I think it's between Jamili's RMD and CD's WLS by a very, very long shot.
You think, even with the damage going back up, you think the WLS has got that good of a shot?
No. So, let me go over all the players on both teams. So, from Jamili's team, Jamili and Rosita Jones are honestly two of the best mechanical and calculated players in the entire game. Like, multi-classing, everything. They understand the game, like, along with Peekaboo, who unfortunately isn't in the tournament, but they understand the game on just a level that so many other people just don't. Like, they know exactly what's going to happen and exactly how things are going to play out. Like, that's why Nahj said earlier, like, their setups are so clean that they can force cooldowns without using any. Like, they just understand the game so well. And then from Sidu's team, of course, Sidu is one of the most successful tournament players of all time.
He keeps his composure, we can say that for sure, huh?
Along with Chanimal, and honestly, Smexen, of course, is up there with Jamili and Rosita Jones, like, as far as, like, being mechanically skilled. Like, Smexen, like, right now, the top warriors in the game, there's Smexen is up here. Like, it's above my camera, so, I mean, we can't even see it. and then we have Revolol, who's, in my opinion, the second best, is right about here. And then every other warrior starts about here and goes down. Like,
Jesus.
It's just... The difference between them is so huge. It's unreal. Like, when we fight Chanimal, Smexen, WLS, it's leagues harder than with any other warrior. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, any other WLS...
I think the gap between Smexen is a little higher, though, than Revo. But that's just me.
I mean, like, you understand like, the metaphor. Yeah, well, I mean, my hand's not even in the camera. Like, I can't put my arm that high. If I could have, I mean...
We have a reference with your shadow.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely between those two. Unfortunately, they're on the same side of the bracket, but I don't think anyone else has a shot.
And there's a lot of EU warriors too, like Trilly. He's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking from a purely NA perspective. So.
Well, when I'm looking at individual players, I always match them up to their best matchup. Like, for example, Smexen, if I was to look at him as an individual, I can't. I would look at him as his best team that I know he is with. And personally, I know that he is really synergized with those two players, Chanimals and Sidu. And as you know, they come from a background where they have to be synergized. They compete a lot, right? So I do think of him as a very good player that way. But I don't know, man. I feel like WLS was so strong, like, before the damage increase. But I'm really interested to see how they do, and obviously Sidu is going to be a crowd favorite. But also, talking about another crowd favorite, real quick, Mr. Balance, Black Jeff, and Zelia Wong with Cool Bears. Windwalker Monk, Death Knight, Warrior, Holy Paladin, and Feral Druid. Those are all the classes on that team. Do you think that this team can get to at least the semifinals, or is the Windwalker dream not yet there?
If they get really good brackets, maybe, but I really feel like the thing I was saying earlier with the very degree of
Super
damage, Windwalkers will just die.
Okay.
Especially with there being 2 RMDs, and I think the Thug Cleave should beat it too.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like Turbo should beat it as well.
Yeah, if I stick with, I mean, the first round they're fighting a Red Hunter. Second round, if Sea-Doo wins, they're fighting Sea-Doo. So,
I think the Red Hunter should beat them, but if they beat the Red Hunter, they can definitely beat the WLS. I think.
When you guys
I think they can. I agree with that. They can, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's no way they're going to beat either RMD or the Thug Cleave.
One thing to note is,
I don't think they'll beat Turbo or RLD either. So like,
our
I don't really think
bracket.
there's that much hope for the Windwalker dream.
Our bracket is so unforgiving first round. It's a best of 3, and there's it's single elimination. So, I mean, like, go ahead, Nessper.
That was another thing I wanted to add, actually, is I really think, again, like you were saying, how countercomps are a serious issue. And I think we should, like, it should be implemented to have a double elimination format. I think that could really add a lot more depth to the tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard, and I know it'll be difficult, but I think with the amount of commentators that you've been adding on to the team, like you've had Venruki, you've had Supatease, you've had Breaker, you've had Lore, you've had yourself, like I think that warrants enough people to have maybe even a second stream and have different people stream the losers bracket, or maybe switch it up even.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And I mean, tournaments could progress a lot faster that way as well. Like at the start, you could stream the entire first round, which usually takes what, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, usually longer actually, right?
Wait.
2.5.
Yeah.
Only 2 to 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5, 2 hours. Yeah, so I mean, if you have 2 streams, that gets cut down in half instantly. So I mean, in general, I think it's a great idea, but I mean,
I want to do double.
of course, that's on your end.
Yeah,
So.
I really do want to do double elimination. I understand how shitty it is to have such an unforgiving bracket, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of tapped on my like real life work and stuff like that. Hence why, because the overall like amount of time that the tournament takes isn't just like the 7 hours of the.
Oh yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
unbelievable. I've organized tournaments myself. I've been in.
If you wanted to sell out Red Robin, you know, you get way more content.
Yeah, that's. But no, I'm not gonna round robin. Yeah, but eventually, as we're growing and people are getting behind us and supporting us, so I'm sure there's gonna become a point where I'm gonna be able to prioritize this over my job. And when that occurs, you better believe there's gonna be some fucking double limbs, man.
Yeah, I think that's really like an important thing. Like everything else that you've done has been amazing, and I really support it. It's been awesome.
Thanks, man.
Great job from that end.
I'm so fucking psyched for tomorrow, boys. It's tomorrow. Like I was looking at this team list on Sunday. I've been
I wish I get to play in it. I would have had so much fun. But
I know.
As usual.
Dude, I even whispered Shifty, and I'm like, please Shifty, get Nahj in my tournament. But yeah, no, he's not feeling it. But
I need to get Dream Soup back on the American schedule instead of Japanese.
Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to go through the team list for the people who are watching the stream right now. For tomorrow, we are going to have our 8th tournament, and in our 8th tournament, we're going to have the previous champions, DBBDBK. It is generic on the combat or subtlety rogue, probably combat, Majidin on the mage, and Danny Carey on the restoration druid. We have Sony invented WLS, Sea-Doo, Chanimals, and Smexon. You guys know what they play. We have Team Billy Bear, Miles QT, Brainbug, Mega Shake. We have Team Speed Racer Go, Hung Hakufu, the Rep Paladin. I'm very familiar with it, but
I can help you with these.
Hold on.
I got you. Okay.
Alright, man.
So, Hung, as in like Hung.
It's with an A though.
I know, but this is how it's pronounced.
Oh, okay. Hung
Ga.
Hunga.
Ku.
Cool.
Alright, so now we're gonna put it all together. Hangaku.
I feel like I'm on fucking Sesame Street right now.
Got it, man.
1 bat, 2 bat.
Yeah, dude, I'm a really big fan of this Ret, though. As a Ret Paladin myself, I do look at him and take his builds and stuff into consideration whenever, like, there's changes in the game. So definitely a good Ret Paladin. And then, of course, we have Inviolable on the Hunter. You guys know who Inviolable is. He has competed and done very well in our past tournaments. And Stormlash X on the Restoration Druid. Be right back. Trap Launcher broke the Cupid? Wait, what the fuck? Yes, it is a Cupid cleave. Or it could be potentially a WLS or WLD. Or what? No, I'm sorry. HLD. Hunter Lock Druid. Every kill begins with K, the one and only Dillypoo. Running with Vase and the Rogue and Philora, the Holy Paladin. Our Monk sucks. Adelia on the Mistweaver Monk. Oh man, all these names. Velidio, I'm still unfamiliar with them. He's on the DK. I has Cleavage on the Warrior and Rostam on another Warrior, just in case one of their Warriors doesn't show up. And of course we have Team Melman. If you're not familiar, that is Balance's Giraffe. He fights with him on every battle. Balance on the Windwalker Monk, Black Jeff on the Death Knight, Zelia Wong on the Holy Paladin, and Cool Bears on the Feral Druid. I'm in love with my ex-girlfriend on the RMD, Unafraid, Echo, and Driftkings. These guys have definitely competed many times before. Proxy.net, Magnus on the Warrior, Bellarine? I'm butchering the fuck out of that guy's name on the enhancement. And then Monks on the Mistweaver Monk. I've seen him stream. He definitely looks really good. The Lord has returned. This is either going to be a KFC, a Jungle, or a Turbo Cleave. It's SSDS, Vajira, and Hakari on the Feral Druid, and Born Good on the Holy Paladin. High. Team High, with a smiley face, is Greki, Absurge, and Glinks, and Chimpo. RLD Dream Team, the one and only, he's right here, Nessper on Combat Rogue, Shapus on the Affliction Warlock, and Pink Rangers on the Restoration Druid. Hey, it's Tony from the Bronx, Turbo, KFC, and Cupid. These guys got it all. Tony, obviously, on either the Hunter or the Enhancement Shaman. Truck on the Ret Paladin or Arms Warrior. Rind on the Restoration Druid. Yes, Rind has subbed out and will be on that Restoration Druid.
I wonder if he's going to go in bear form this week, or
if
he's
going to be a man.
He's going to be a man Druid.
He protests bear form. He's like, I am a man. I refuse to be a bear. No matter how much you try and make me, I will not be.
Yes, Bajira is competing this week, guys. And Smooch TKO, Smooch TKO, RMD or God Comp, or possibly even Double Mage. I feel like, yeah, that's a thing, I guess. Jamili on either the Combat Rogue or Subtlety Rogue, Shadow Priest or Mage. Rosita Jones on the Frost Mage, Cubsy on the Restoration Druid, or Elite on the Holy Paladin. They do have the option of those two healers, so that's interesting. Please fix Q-Bug, the Cupid, the one and only Evangeline on the Ret Paladin, Dorothy on the Hunter, and Dwayne Wave on the Healer, to be determined. So that is the entire team list, man. I'm so pumped for tomorrow. Oh, it's going to be sick.
I'm sorry, this is the last time I'm going to raise my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading the list. Go ahead.
I actually meant to message you earlier about it, but I didn't remember until like just now with the
what are we doing?
mentioning of the team rosters and everything. But we were actually going to add a fourth player to our roster.
Oh shit!
So
live on stream.
It's
Where
actually
we
we're gonna allow some multi-comping this time around. It's a completely new thing for us.
Is it your clone Double Combat Rogue?
Oh no, it's an absolute disaster.
I'm adding it to the team list right now as you say it.
We're adding my very good friend Zaryu to our team.
Holy
NMD.
Potential of yes, NMD.
Nice.
Call it that. Yeah. So yeah, we have the possibility of playing RMD. It's not likely, but it is an option just in case. Like it's like an insanely.
You're bluffing all the teams.
I had an epiphany that I'm NMD as well when I play with Grayson. I didn't realize that until the other day.
That's completely correct. Yeah.
NMD mirrors if I queue in the tournament next week.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Shit.
No, you'll win.
Yo, shout out to Zaryu for coming and competing. That's awesome. Wow, dude, that's just another big name to add to the roster, for real. This tournament is going to be...
about it the other day, and he was like, yeah, and I'll play. And I was like, all right, cool. We'll do it, man. We'll win. We'll take the championship. But, I mean, of course, I don't have very much confidence in it this week. So many really, really good teams this week, so it'll be a real struggle.
Okay. Just a couple weird questions on my Twitter, but nothing to repeat to you guys. But that is going to conclude Queue Up episode 4. I believe it's episode 4. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all you guys. Nessper, do you want to start off with the shout outs to your own stream to whoever?
I'd like to wrap it all up, if I could do that. That's
All
more
right.
my thing. I'm more of a closer.
All right.
Always been.
We'll let you wrap it up. So
Thank you.
Supatease, we'll start with you then.
I thought you were actually gonna rap.
Dude, shoutouts are so awkward.
Just so
I don't know why they're so awkward. It's like I'm sitting here and I'm blanking. I'm just like, what do I say?
shout out your mom.
Shout out everyone.
Shout out everyone.
I didn't miss anyone, did I?
I fucking took that personally. All right, man.
Shout out to D-Machine. Shout out to Breaker. Shout out to Clutter. Shout out
Just
to
reading our chat.
everybody.
Can we show you how to do shoutouts? No.
What about your stream, man? You've been streaming a lot lately.
If you want to check out my stream, if you want to see somebody die to Jamili every day and rage balls,
Nice.
you can follow my stream at Gladiator Supatease. And yes, it sounds what's the word for that?
Pretentious,
Okay.
maybe?
Yeah. The story around my name for my stream is that Supatease was taken, and I didn't want to put an X at the end because Supatease X kind of looked weird. It looked like sex at the end, so
Yeah.
I didn't want that. So I was like, I looked at my character in the game, and it said Gladiator Supatease in the game, so I just typed it out. I didn't learn until later that was actually me that took my own name and then forgot the password, and I used a different email. So that's what my name is.
Been there, done that,
If you
man.
if you want to follow that, then you can. I warn you ahead of time.
Nahj, you're up, bud.
Alright, shoutouts to, of course, you, D-Machine, for running this event, and it's actually really fun to be in and talk about stuff. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Nahj Gaming. It's also listed on my stream page if you want to check that out, with a whole bunch of other stuff like my keybinds and macros, my playlist, Pandora stations I listen to, pretty much everything down there. And subscribers to my stream, thank you for the support, and you know who you are. Please record your games and send me the threes clips. I don't want to harp on everyone that's actually subbed to me, but I
Do you do
really
rep
want some
outings?
clips so I can do that.
Can I send you rep out on clips?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I was actually wanting to do something like that as well, with if I can get top player clips that aren't subbed to me, and just do like a Day 9 daily inspired
Oh shit, Day 9 daily.
analyzing. I fucking love Day 9. Sean Plott is the
Day9
man.
is the boss.
Day 9 is
Yeah.
a fucking beast.
Yeah, and that's pretty much shout outs to Day 9 then, you know. Shout outs to my partners, Rosita and Grayson, and then plus Shifty and other druids like Dream Soup, which he's probably not awake, but. And
Dream Soup is awesome.
Nesper's turn.
Alright, that's
Alright,
fair.
so I'd
Wrap
like
it
to
up,
start
baby.
my shoutouts, of course, with the whole GCD TV team. You guys are doing a great job, and I really appreciate everything you guys have done. Shoutouts to the people here with me in the, can I call it the studio? Shoutouts to people with me in the studio. Nahj,
The
Supatease,
imaginary
myself. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's actually been a good night. Hopefully, there was enough. Should I cut it? No, it wasn't really drama. Hopefully, there
No,
was
there was
enough
no drama.
disagreements and more discussion-related things.
It was
than
great.
You were
You guys did
expecting.
awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to my brother Tyler. You may know him as Pink Rangers. Shout out to my entire family back home in Brazil. Rind, my father.
My
Shapus,
God.
Shapus, my great uncle.
I thought Shapus was dead though.
It's actually
Yeah, what happened? Did you revive him?
Well, there's another story
Brazilian voodoo
behind that.
magic?
I'd like to actually.
But it
Well,
is twin
I
brother
love
that's
about-
like looked.
It is actually. It's actually his twin brother. They actually have the same accent, same voice, and everything. And
It's like Beer Fest.
his name's Pugman. Some of you may have seen him around in the 3v3 ladder. But yeah, as 80s fan hasn't been played in months, and that's Shapus. But we've been playing with his twin brother. They have the same talents, everything. It's a magical family. But yeah. Shoutouts to my family, of course. My brother's a huge fucking cunt. We all hate him. But we still love him. He's my brother. And I'd like to give a theoretical pat on the back to anyone who can find my Twitter and follow me.
Oh shit! You have a Twitter?
It does exist. It exists. I haven't.
I've
used
been
it.
looking for your Twitter for so long.
I
What
haven't
is
bo-
it?
I haven't bothered. I'm not going to tell you. If you
What
can
the
find it,
fuck?
you have my theoretical.
What
pat
are
on
we
the back.
supposed to
It's-
do?
But I mean, I haven't used it at all.
Is there like an Easter egg hunt, like to find your Twitter, man? Like, come
Well, I
on.
mean, my Twitter on picture, and my Twitter on my Twitter's picture, profile picture, is the same as my Skype picture. So
That does not help. No, come on. Fucking Nessper, goddammit.
I mean, good luck.
All right, I'll find you. It's fine. We got this.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks so much everyone for being here. Thanks for hosting this, and yeah, it was a great experience.
All
Hopefully,
right.
I look forward to it in the future, and I look forward to future tournaments, of course.
Of course. Nessper, always a gentleman and a scholar and a good competitor. So it's my turn. All right. I want to shout out, of course, the GCD team, Breaker, Sai, Hannah, and I, and myself. I'm going to shout myself out. There it is. And but I also wanted to shout out Vanguards from Arena Junkies, always putting the GCD TV post right on the front page of Arena Junkies, shouting us out. I wanted to shout out MMO Champions, specifically Chad. He helps us out. He stickies our posts, and he also embeds us on the front page of MMO Champions. Can't ask for more than that. I want to shout out Warcraft Movies. They're going to start putting our VODs right on the front page as soon as we upload them. Thank you so much for that exposure. And,
That's really nostalgic. I haven't been there
movies.
Forever.
It's used by
know,
EU
right?
people a lot more, I swear.
It feels like almost MySpace to think of Warcraft movies.
And
So 2010.
yeah, it's crazy, right? But and also follow my Twitter at dmachinewile. And last but not least, we're gonna bomb Mr. Sam the Vanguards himself. So I'm gonna go ahead and post him in chat. Please go and let him know that you're coming from GCD TV and that it is a bomb. Please, please bomb Sam. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate Supa, Nahj, and Nessper. Thank you guys. You guys were here for an hour and 43 minutes, so that's a lot longer than an hour. So thank you guys so much for chilling with me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Later.
You trying to do a thumbs up some emote?
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a really good emote.
Thanks, man. Hirona made it.